All right, well, turning now to the resurgence of Detroit's creative economy, this week the Detroit Creative Corridor Center, or DC3, launched a 10-year City of Design initiative, essentially how to promote and strengthen the economic impact of Detroit's creative industries. Well, I sat down with DC3's Olga Stella and Richard Rogers from the College for Creative Studies for a closer look. Olga, I'm going to start off with you. First of all, explain when we talk about the economic impact of creative industries in the city of Detroit. I think sometimes when we talk about this next resurgence and chapter of Detroit, we're not really thinking about creative industries or supporting them. What does that really mean?
Well, so people often have a limited view of what it means. And what we've been trying to do at the Detroit Creative Corridor Center is really expand that view. So it includes arts and galleries and things that people can relate to, but also includes real jobs producing opportunities, whether it's architecture, film and video, folks who do graphic design. I think when you start to look at people who do product, I mean, it's everywhere. And when you really start to peel back most of our traditional industries in the city, you can find the roots of creativity and design, companies in those sectors helping to support them.
And Rick, I mean, Detroit has a very storied history when it comes to design. Give us a little bit of fill us in on that.
Well, you could really say that Detroit's industrial history was kind of driven by design, although it goes back so far that it started before the word design really came into vogue. But industrial design is the area where that involves designing automobiles, designing just about every kind of product that we have in our lives, whether it's our electronic devices or kitchen appliances or athletic shoes. That's all part of industrial design. And Detroit is really the birthplace of industrial design because back in the early 1930s, General Motors brought a guy named Harley Earl from the West Coast to Detroit to start what they then called the art and color section. And that kind of immediately shows you the connection between art and what today we call design. And Harley Earl was really the first true designer in the auto industry and developed a lot of the techniques that are still used today in the design of automobiles, and then those techniques and methodologies have spread to all other kinds of fields that we call design today.
All right, so we fast forward to where we are in Detroit today, and this week you launched kind of like a 10-year vision for what the next chapter of the city is going to be like in terms of design and in terms of those creative industries, Olga. So explain what possibly is a 10-year plan and what does that look like?
Right. So in December, Detroit was designated a UNESCO City of Design by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, Cultural Organization, and we're the only one in the United States to receive this designation, one of 22 cities around the world and part of a 116 member network of cities that are committed to using creativity to drive their city's future. So to your point, Christy, what does that mean? What we want to do, when we've looked at the other cities of design that have had real economic impacts, grown jobs, increased the number of firms, seen the creative sectors really develop, they've had a single vision. They've come around either entrepreneurship or placemaking, something that can help organize all their efforts. And what we launched this week was really just the starting point. We're going to take the next 9 to 12 months to work across our community to really build what that vision is. What is it that's unique about Detroit, our assets and our opportunities that can help pull us all together around that singular vision so that people in academia, people in industry, community, policymakers can contribute their activities towards realizing that vision.
So Rick, what are some of the things that you're starting to hear from people saying, okay, now is when we start to take a look, these are some of the things that must be in place for Detroit when we start talking about it?
Well, certainly we're going to, as Olga said, we're going to build on the assets that we have. So we already have some things in place, like we have a very strong education in creative fields. We have a very strong creative sector, but as you suggested, not as visible as it needs to be. We do think there needs to be a big educational component to this because design is still a very esoteric subject, and people need to understand how it really affects and infects our lives, infects in a good way, and how it can be used as a powerful tool to effect change and to improve the quality of people's lives. So we have to spend a lot of time kind of educating people what the potential is here, and then the other piece that's really important is participation. If this is not a broad-based initiative that brings a lot of people together, both people who are already kind of initiated into the world of design and people who come to learn about it and see how it can be useful, if we don't do that, then it will not be a successful initiative.
All right, you can see my whole interview with Olga and Rick at MiWeek.org.